Hi, welcome to One Word Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the University of Chinese. We're going to continue our journey in exploring one new Chinese expression a day. 道貌岸然 is Chinese way to say hypocrisy. Basically, what you see, how you judge by people's look as if a moral high ground that they find the tao in life, or they look as physically more higher ground, as if they're standing on a cliff that tall appearing individuals oftentimes doesn't live up to that tall standards in your perception. So that's Chinese way to say hypocrisy. 道貌岸然. Okay. And today we have 人不可貌相. It's another live session that life hack session in Chinese that talks about you shouldn't judge a person by its look. 人不可貌相. Okay, if you see this is 5-character expression, probably it's not long classical, like a long-standing, time-honored classical expression. And 人不可貌相 probably is more closer to contemporary expression somebody put together just to, straightforward in a contemporary Chinese habitual way of expressing of you cannot judge a person by its look. So 人, okay, we have, you see now, this two-leg standing being, it's Chinese generic person definition, human, basically. And you see contemporary, it looks like this, but in traditional, there is some curves. So one side is straight, the other one, straight with a curve, but the other one is curvier with more strokes and is covering on top of that. So there is a little bit, totally it's asymmetrical, but it's still two-leg standing. It almost emphasizing every one of us, we have two sides. At least we have left and right brain, right? And then one side is more linear, more straightforward. The other side has a messier, spiraling down the path, I guess. And then that's combined human. So it can be both rational, emotional, all that we can put into this interpretation of why ancient Chinese write human as such. But its basic meaning two-leg standing being. Okay, no. We came across this multiple times. This horizontal line means skyline. And then this is a bird going upward, pointing up. So, pointing upward, saying no to the ground. That's one expression, according to some scholars, just like me. Those scholars sitting all day long trying to figure out why ancient Chinese language creators put such symbols together to mean this at their given time. They have just as limited information as I have right now, except, today we are powered with internet. So if I don't know anything, I can search. But this is one interpretation by some scholars of this silly bird flying toward the sky, refusing to go down. It almost sounds like a mythology, right? Like a Greek mythology thing. But now I'm looking at it again after almost 1.5 years of doing One Word a Day. Really, it's cultivating or familiarizing myself with ancient symbols to see if I can make some connections and dots. To further understand what exactly that means. I'm going to give it a try to see if my understanding, my version is plausible even. Okay, so this symbol, this convex shape, like upward pointing curve, right? Connected with vertical line. That's Chinese abstraction of entering. So this entering is the space of there. And then from this current space, this spike, this pointy thing is, the least resistant way to enter into a new space. right? Because it's narrower. You're not forcing yourself in the full scale. You're just pointy, like one narrowed down, so that the PSI is, I guess, higher. So it's easy to break through into a new space. And now this downward draping line, that I can view it almost like indicator. So sometimes Chinese indicators will just draw a horizontal line, just like a number 10, right? This rope horizontal line, that means a knot on the rope. So knotting to mean is number 10. But sometimes Chinese got stylized. So one horizontal line depends on the context, the other visual elements in that frame already. This line may go upward or downward. So in this case, it's going downward. It may or may not carry special meaning. Right now, I don't have enough information to tell. But if it is an indicator, that means this is a new space we're talking about. This is because this is the old space you're in, and this spiky thing is the needle, right? Puncture it into a new space. And this horizontal line turned downward pointing curve, it's saying here is what we're talking about. And when we say here is what we're talking about, and now we have this horizontal line on the top. In my understanding is this horizontal line means this original place you're coming from. And this pointy thing is this new space you're going to, right? And then this means this is the new place you are in. And that spatial transition means you are moving ahead into the new space. You are saying no. You're negating your original space. If that makes sense. A little bit abstract, but I think maybe it's one possibility. So original space, new space. And through this shape, we're showing this entering, this old space entering to new space. And this indicator indicate right now, this is where you are. You cannot go back anymore. This is where you came from. This is your starting point. Okay, so that's my understanding of why it's a negation. Okay, cool. This is a divine decoder stand. So horizontal line is the surface of the stand, and somehow the stand have this curvier shape and still can stand, not topple. I guess it's visually balanced as well here, right? If you have a starting point here, and even if you curve up like that, if you have a desktop over there, probably the whole thing won't collapse. I don't know, I need to try it out. It seems like possible, physically possible. So this is a stand, a podium, and then we have this mouse symbol. That means speaking, communicating, right? So communicating through the divine. Just like contemporary, we watch on TV every day or on a phone to check out the weather. So weather to contemporary living is not that big deal anymore, unless you are going to make some trip. You need to know ahead of time how the weather is going to look like. But in everyday living, probably weather doesn't impact us that much. But in ancient time, agrarian society has to know the weather because it's heavily related to their crops harvesting, right? If it's going to be rain, how much the rain, the timing of the rain, all of that matters into the calculation of the final year's crop. So this divine decoder basically is weather broadcast man back then, right? Have this special position to tell you if you can start planting seed or doing something agriculturally so that you are pretty much in sync with what the weather broadcaster is saying that it's going to happen. So you can harvest to the max of your, the best crop year, something like that. So this is divine decoders communicating after, reading the sky to weather forecast. Now it's broadcasting to the landowners, I guess, or at least the farmers, to tell them what you can or cannot do. So this is can. And if you hear like immigrants from my language coming to here, maybe, I'm saying it's a maybe, because many of us were already educated in English for many years before come over, but other people may not be so good at English, and when they come here to this new language environment, sometimes it's not easy to flip your thinking like that, right? So old way of thinking, of expression still stay with us. So this no can, in English we say cannot, right? Not, the negation comes after can. But in Chinese, we have this negation in front of it. If it's a negation, we tell you up front, this is a no situation, and then tell you it's a can. So it's no can, it's negating what's coming up instead of like English. So for people who are new, probably that's a difficult transition to flip the word order. So human, no can, right? And look, read, okay, read somebody based on the look, basically. So look is what a carryover, and it still means look. We have this head symbol, that's nose bridge with two verticalized nostril, that's the center of the face, with the circle, the peripheral of the face to mean the whole head. And then the head is placed right on top of this two-legged human being. You can see here, it's kind of placed over there with this part of the body, right? Right there. So that's a human head. And then this is animal. So animal sign, yesterday I interpreted it as, almost reading another person, human head. Look at their head as if you're examining animal, or plug into your animal instinct to read that person. And so this is kind of a without other information, like without hear that person's background or without interact with a person, how are you going to tell what's the profession, the age, what they're doing, what's their purpose, is a good or bad person, relative to you? How are you going to tell? So this judging person just by the look have this animal, four-leg animal. This is animal head, this is human head, paired together. So, hey, today I have a new vision on this look. You see, this is animal head, right? Human head in their own ways of abstraction. And the animal head, I guess this is like a big jaw or teeth or something like that. And this is the head, the skull of the animal. And then here are the two exaggerated eye. So it's like pretty alert animal head, side view with four legs. And this is human head with two legs. And all that paired together, like reading an animal or a human, both with their head, like a zoom up view of the head. That's how you judge either animal or human. So today I have a new interpretation of this model. This just by appearance. Now, 像, I translate as a read, because we have an eyeball here. This box with two horizontal lines, that's our eyeball simplification. So just like nostrils, it's horizontally placed on human, like in the physical world. I don't have stacked up nostrils, neither do you, right? But Chinese over time got abstracted. So this eyeball also got vertical, like the whole thing. Like our eyes is horizontal with eyeball in the middle, right? It will be more reasonable to draw an eyeball horizontal box with two vertical lines, but the whole thing stacked up. In my interpretation of the motive of that is the economy of space. That way it's narrower horizontally, because a lot of times you see Chinese is left and right. We also have up and down, but many times it's left and right structure. And when it's left and right, I mean, horizontally, they are squishier. They have to, be more tight horizontally. So that's why the eyeball, instead of doing the realistic way, we abstract it and stack it up. Just like sometimes we have bed frame stack up. Imagine a bed frame horizontally placed. That takes a lot of horizontal space. So we stack up the whole thing as if like you're ready to move. You have a bed frame already packed up like that. So, okay, we have eyeball on the right and the wood symbol or the tree symbol on the left side. So this is the canopy of the tree, and this is the trunk of the tree, and then have a spacer over there. Now, today I have a new understanding of this. So this spacer, when I place with, there's no negation. I'm thinking of this, you can regard it as spacer, or, I mean, in tree, I used to interpret it as a spacer to have a big arch over there. But now when we place next to 不, because here is the indicator. Indicator a lot of times is just one horizontal line. There is no stylization of the indicator. It's just indicate to, as if like visually, to keep the pointer on the frame of the icon so that you know what we're talking about. So here is the indicator, but it got drapey, like pointing downward. Here, the tree too, it got the drapey. And it could be an indicator instead of a spacer that my earlier interpretation is. So indicator here is de-emphasized is on the trunk. If it's some plant with leaves, right, growing upward, pointing toward the sun, but it has a long trunk, that's the definition of a tree. So here, this big arch thing, instead of being the spacer that I talked about, it could be just an indicator to emphasize, okay, here, the trunk is what we emphasize. That's how the tree stands tall with a tall trunk, distinguish itself from the grass that's kind of a low growing, or shrubs, right? Low growing. So this is a tree because it has a big trunk. Okay, eyeball paired with tree. That is ancient times of saying like you have to eyeball, you have to read the tree basically. You have to read if the tree has fruit that's edible for you, not poisonous. So in a hunter-gatherer society, this hunter's ability to tell fruit, to tell plants, to tell trees, to read if a tree is a friendly tree, a poisonous tree, is super important. So that becomes the, the essence of human eyeball, reading a food source potential tree. So that's read. Now we have 人不可貌相. That's Chinese sequencing, right? So we're talking about 人, like you, the listener, average human. We cannot read a person by its look. Is it? Is it chaotic? Like human, we're talking about you. You cannot read a person like you again by its look. So I guess we can eliminate the first person. So basically the lesson is cannot read a person by its look. Does it make sense? English sense now, but the Chinese have its whole, rearranging of the words so that it makes Chinese sense to me. 人不可貌相, talking about when you're assessing a person, you cannot read just by their look, because that's super partial, biased information you'll get. And that's Chinese way to say, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a person by its look, by his or her look. So here is a scene created by some photographer of this almost looks like a dragon is chasing after this girl. And of course, this is an intentional dramatic effect. And the girl, the model here also posing it as if it's running away from the dragon, but you can see it in another pair of foot, walking leisurely over there. So this is just a regular street scene. And if we're judging by the first look, as if the girl is escaping from the dragon, it is judging a scene or what's happening, right, by its look, by the first look. And a lot of times it's wrong. So that's Chinese way of saying don't judge a book by its cover. 人不可貌相. Catching to the currency of thinking about Mama today. We so see you another day.